Our story for today is called Lazy Jack. Once upon a time there was a boy whose name was Jack, and he lived with his mother on a common. They were very poor, but the old woman made her living by spinning. But Jack was so useless that he was called Lazy Jack. His mother at last told him that if he did not begin to work for his porridge, she would turn him out. This roused Jack, and he went out and hired himself for the next day to a neighboring farmer for a penny. But as he was coming home, never having had any money before, he lost it. "You silly boy," said his mother. "You should have put it in your pocket." "I'll do so another time," replied Jack. Well, the next day Jack went out again and hired himself to a cow keeper, who gave him a jar of milk for his day's work. Jack put the jar into his jacket pocket, spilling it all before he got home. "Dear me," said the woman, "you should have carried it on your head." "I'll do so another time," said Jack. So the following day Jack hired himself again to a farmer, who agreed to give him a cream cheese for his service. In the evening Jack took the cheese and went home with it on his head. By the time he got home, the cheese was all spoiled, part of it being lost and part matted with his hair. "You lout," said his mother, "you should have carried it very carefully in your hands." "I'll do so another time," replied Jack. Now the next day Lazy Jack again went out and hired himself to a baker, who would give him nothing for his work but a large tomcat. Jack took the cat and began carrying it very carefully in his hands, but in a short time Pussy scratched him so much that he was compelled to let it go. When he got home his mother said to him, "You silly fellow, you should have tied it with a string and dragged it along after you." "I'll do so another time," said Jack. So on the following day Jack hired himself to a butcher, who rewarded him by the handsome present of a shoulder of mutton, so some meat. Jack took the mutton, tied it with a string, and trailed it along after him in the dirt, so that by the time he got home the meat was completely spoiled. His mother this time was quite out of patience with him. "You ninny hammer," she said to her son, "you should have carried it on your shoulder." "I'll do so another time," replied Jack. Well, on the Monday Lazy Jack went once more and hired himself to a cattle keeper, who gave him a donkey for his trouble. Now though Jack was strong, he found it hard to hoist the donkey on his shoulders, but at last he did it, and began walking home. Now it so happened that he passed a house where a rich man lived with his only daughter, who had never spoken in her life. The doctor said she would never speak till somebody made her laugh. So the father had said that any man who made her laugh would receive her hand in marriage. Now this young lady happened to be looking out of the window when Jack was passing by with the donkey on his shoulders. Well, the sight was so comical that she burst into a fit of laughter and immediately recovered her speech and hearing. Her father was overjoyed and fulfilled his promise by marrying her to Jack, who was thus made a rich gentleman. They lived in a large house, and Jack's mother lived with them in great happiness. And that's it for stories. I hope you enjoyed these little short stories. And continue your reading. Also in the summer holidays, do your best to do some reading. Even little short bits. All right. We'll see you whenever I'll see you next.